through GroupMe or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you for that.
And I know Halligan, he is in our chat, and he was really impressed by some of the chats or tweets you guys had going out on ClashCon during ClashCon. So I know he's a big fan. So he'll be fanboying in the chat. So
I love fanboys, man. I'm all about it.
It's yeah, we had a good time. I think we've got that a little later in our agenda to kind of speak on, but man, that it was a whole lot of fun that morning. I stayed up all night long just for ClashCon, and it got to a point where I ended up napping out some. But yeah, we had a great time on Twitter. So we'll get to that, I think, later on. But yeah, that was an awesome time. So he was there with us.
all right, well, let's go ahead and actually get to know you guys a little bit better. Why don't we go ahead and start off with Shaggy? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in the game?
All right, cool. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm Shaggy68, leader of Cold September. I guess clan or family or whatever you want to call it. I consider castles an even peer to me, so I don't think there's any family word there. Town Hall 10 been playing since 2013. I'd say it was December when I started. You know. At this point in the game, it's about arranged wars for me. It's about the social aspect of the game and knowing that I could literally travel anywhere in the world at this point and be able to reach out to people that I've met through the game, hang out with them, have dinner, have a beer or whatever it was. As an overall, I just enjoy clashing. I do it constantly, and it's social and hardcore war. So that's me.
Cool. How about you, Castles?
Yeah, so I've been playing Clash now for more than a couple of years. I think it's probably been closer to 3, maybe 3.5 years. I got Pretty Kitty here with me. What do you think? 3.5 years? Yeah, 3.5 years or so. But when I first started playing, man, honestly, I wasn't a very serious player. I'd log on and play, for 10, 20 minutes or something, but I didn't play very seriously. I didn't really focus on the right things. I know at one point I was an extremely rushed, Town Hall 7. And then about 8 or 9 months ago, I graduated from school and I just started to play more seriously. And over the last 9 months, I've gone from about a mid-level Town Hall 8 with dude, I had 8,000 troops on my friend in need at Town Hall 8. I had nothing. But over the last 9 months, I've leveled up. I'm nearly max Town Hall 9. Only one thing left in my research lab. Yeah, and my level 10 walls are coming along nicely. I'm just about halfway done. So that's where I am in the game. Excited to be leading Cold Sept. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me.
Nice. Yeah, talking about being rushed. Yeah, I was there. I was one of those guys that had the crappy little walls and rushed. Well, I wasn't really rushed as far as defenses, but I was way heavier than what my heroes were supposed to be. So.
Yeah, man, definitely. I was definitely there. I didn't play seriously, and I think I was Town Hall 8, and when I got there, I had a Barbarian King that was level 4. It was terrible, man. And what's the max? What's the max for Barbarian King at Town Hall 8 right now? Is it level 10?
I think it's level 10.
Yeah, so I was super rushed.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and come back to you, Castle. When do you get your Clash in now? I mean, obviously you're grinding out your base and you've got yourself up. You said you were talking about the Town Hall 10 or level 10 walls. When are you getting your Clash in? Is it at home? Is it at work? I mean, are you doing it during your morning commute like Halligan does?
Yeah, when do I get it in? Well, so during the daytime, I usually log in I'll log in for maybe a minute to 2 minutes every, I would say twice an hour. I'm on the game for a couple of minutes doing a raid or doing some war donations. I'd be on more, except my office, the Wi-Fi, man, they block Clash of Clans and other mobile games. Yeah, it's a pain in my ass, but it just means it'll chew up my data, right? So during the daytime, I'm not on very much. In the evenings, I typically am on, and basically what I'll do is I'll raid, I'll set another army, and then I'll usually be busy on GroupMe talking with Shaggy or talking with other members of the clan. You've always kind of, when you're leading a clan, you always have to kind of have a presence, whether it's in the game or on GroupMe. I think Shaggy would agree with that. So if I'm not on Clash in the evening, it's because I'm on GroupMe. Typically, I reserve my boosting for the weekends. Usually on a Sunday, I will crack a beer or something and do 2 hours, 4 hour boosts. And so that's when I'm really grinding, is on Sunday evenings.
So instead of watching football, you're grinding out the DE or the loot, huh?
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm the type of guy too that, like, I usually only focus on Dark Elixir. For me, walls, like, I don't know, lots of people like to stress over them and count them, and they're like, I gotta get this many walls, but it's just too stressful for me. So I pretty much just focus on Dark Elixir, and I usually do like the Super Queen, although I'm not always the best at it. It depends on how inebriated I am. There's definitely been boosts where, like, I don't know, when that Archer Queen dies, man, even with the boost, it takes her 20 minutes to heal up. It's a long time.
Yeah. How about you, Shaggy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Castle. What, you were gonna add something there?
No. I was just saying, yeah.
Yeah, Shaggy. How about you? When are you getting your Clash in?
Mine's a little bit different, and it's almost to the point that it never ends. So I'm an independent sales rep, originally from the oil and gas drilling industry, a couple of other industries over time, but realistically, I have the independence to come and go as I please, clash as I please, respond to people as I please. So as long as nothing's going on in the personal life, I can pretty much be on any time that I have troops built. I tend to do my boost really late at night, bit of a night owl, so I'll do 2 hours, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Most of the time, I'll sneak in. Nobody will realize I'm there. Heroes based off of Super Queen. I'm the same as Castles there. Heroes carry it, so there's not a lot of CC requests. So sometimes I just slip in that odd hour. We're completely diverse as a clan, so we have people from all over the world. So there's only about a 2 hour window where it slows down just a little bit. But that's kind of where I fit in. It suits perfectly with my style of raiding and my personal life. As far as GroupMe is concerned, I think I woke up today to 600 messages, 500 messages.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah. So 90% of my time that I'm not on Clash, it's still managing things. I mean, like I spoke about a moment ago, a lot of the game at this point for me is arranged wars as well as the social aspect of the game. And, when you've played with some of the people that are inside of our clan for literally, a year to almost 2 years, depending on who it is, you develop more than just a in-game friend. You talk personal lives, you talk different things. And, so as far as what I would call the game, me is included in that. So I would say I'm on just about 24/7. But as far as, in-game raid time, I'll do it whenever troops are built throughout the day, but I tend to do my boost late at night, 3 or 4 times per week.
Chat's calling you a lurker.
A lurker. Yeah, they call me a lurker and a creeper. So.
Shag lurks, man. Chat is right.
It's like this. There's been times where, like, I have many accounts. Okay, so back when I was hardcore farming at Town Hall 8, even in 9, when you would get to the point where you had all 5 builders working or whatever, I got bored. And I was the guy that was raiding at that time in those shorter seasons, 300 to 500 times a season. I mean, it was just hours upon hours of boost every day. It's just what I did. This was early in arranged wars while we were on the come up. So it got boring quick. So I had these little minis that I would goof around with. And, there's been times that, I've had one sitting in one of our clans and everybody not even realize that I'm there, and then we talk 3 hours later and I was like, hey, well, how did you handle that? Or here's some advice on that from what I've seen in the past. And they're like, whoa, dude, what were you even doing there? So, it's a lot of fun. I goof around, with the clan from that aspect. But at the same time, I enjoy watching the way they interact, the way they handle issues. To see them team together is absolutely remarkable for me. I've talked about how it's more than just in-game friends for me, but it's not just me. With so many people that are there, and people that we've came across over time that help build out the clan. Those are still important people at this point in my life, as much time as I've dedicated to the game itself. So it's a lot of fun. You don't always want to talk, but you want to stay in the loop, and that's where they get the lurker or the creeper term from.
Totally understand that. I've got so many chats going on, and with me working at night, it seems like everybody starts to come out at night, and so I'm in the chat scrolling through, reading what's going on, and I can't always respond and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm just kind of trying to follow along. So totally understand the whole creeping, lurking thing. I'm a horrible lurker. I'm always on my phone.
Right.
And you mentioned you had minis. How many minis are you running about now?
I technically have 4, and so this was new information. I have technically 4 accounts. This is new information to our clan. I use 3. Well, let me rephrase that. I realistically only use 1 account. I use my next biggest account to stream from. And once in a blue moon, when we need a +1, I will add it to a war. The next smaller one is just holding a 3rd clan, where we had at one time needed that, and we just kind of got to a point where it was better to put the leadership teams together, and one team, one dream, as Castles would say. And so we put them together, and we put them together, and so it's just it's a level 4 clan. It just holds it open. It's nothing special. And then I've got one more that nobody knows about, and I refuse to reveal the identity of that one. So
I need to interject before Shaggy carries on. FYI to the Twitch chat that's paying attention, and to the future downloaders of this podcast. That is One Team One Dream Cold Step 2015 trademarked. So you can adopt that. Nobody can adopt that for their clan. Okay.
I saw that coming.
That is ours.
I'm not even allowed to use it. I don't think. I think that's all Sept. So
all Sept.
How about you, Castle? You running any minis right now?
Man, I don't run minis, and more power to the people that do. I don't mean this in a mean way. I don't get it. You know what I mean? Because like my main account, I feel like it requires so much time and effort to level it up. I mean, walls are 3 million a piece right now, and I already feel like I don't get to put enough time into my main account. So yeah, I don't have a mini. My girlfriend, Pretty Kitty, I help her sometimes. Like maybe she's on a boost and she falls asleep 20 minutes into it, which happens a lot. Like she'll boost, man, and fall asleep in 20 minutes. So like while I'm playing Guitar Hero or something, I'll pick it up and like finish her boost. But no, man, I don't have any minis.
And I'm reading there in chat. Math Monster seems to think he knows where the 4th one is. And to be perfectly clear, it is not in our trial clan. So I don't even have an account there. I don't have time to have an account there.
Hey, is your secret mini the one that flirts with me all the time?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. But no, it's actually not in a CS clan at the moment. And or at least I'm going to say that it's not, but it's definitely not in Trial Lab.
Cool. Okay. We'll go ahead and start with Shaggy on this one. Can you tell us how you made it to Cold September, and I mean basically the history of Cold September?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So, like I said, I started the game in December of 2013. At that time, for most of the players that I work with day in and day out at this point, they were playing back then, or at least close to then, are familiar with the fact that there were no clan wars back then. So it was farming or pushing. That was the only 2 choices. And somehow or another, I literally remember 0 clans before Cold September. I came into the clan. I was just a peon. Nobody knew me. I didn't know them. I was probably a Town Hall 6. I don't know. But I came into the group, and yeah, it was chill. It was really cool. People were on. It was all social. But you guys were talking a bit ago about rushed bases, and I would have to dig through one of my old devices to find the images. But I was a Town Hall 8 with wood walls. So that if that tells you anything about the clan, Yeah, if that tells you anything about the clan itself, I think I had like Town Hall 4 and 5 defenses, wood walls. It was horrific. So anyway, I came in. Those were, those were the people that I followed. Like, I didn't know any better. I literally figured I would pick up the game, play it for a little while, and then just drop it and never touch it again. And so I wanted the new defense, the extra troop, whatever it was at the time. And I was surrounded by the like kind, so I didn't realize that I was doing it wrong. I mean, I genuinely had no idea. So needless to say, with a clan full of people that were extremely rushed, and I don't mean slightly rushed here and there, I mean extremely, extremely rushed from leader down. They were there for the social aspect. I was farming, thinking I had the coolest thing in the world, and eventually, a guy named Bow and Arrows. He's from Florida in the U.S. At this point, I consider him a great friend. Came into the clan and he understood the game. Like I don't even know why he was there, like or how he came into the the clan, but he understood it and he knew that I wanted something more. So we put a major push on just kind of getting up to par where it needed to be. And oddly enough, right before Clan Wars had became a thing, I was starting to see those attacks that the pushers would use. He was exposing me to those, and I was working to perfect them. And eventually, when Clan Wars came out, Cold September again was still a super rush clan. It was really casual, but there started to be a transition where we would try these things. And I think I was elder at this point. I don't even know if I was beyond member. Definitely wasn't a leader of any form. And there ended up being a choice, and I think all clans went through this at some point. And it was, are we a war clan or are we a farming clan? And in some cases, it was, are we a pusher clan? But Cold September was an absolute split, and I wouldn't even call the farmers. They were just social players. And so, as a whole, we had a split. One group went one way, one group went the other. Well, that being said, the leader passed the leader to someone else. They happened to live in the state next to me, so we related somewhat. And then they ended up not being into this hardcore idea of what we were going for. So we'd war once a week, twice a week, and then we'd stop. And then we'd war once a week, twice a week, and then we'd stop. Epic losses all the way throughout. So Bo and I pushed and pushed, along with another guy called Don Wan. And we pushed the clan a bit further. Eventually, I gained. They gave me leader of the clan, and there was a second split. So those people that didn't go initially, that were just in the game for the social aspect, they at that point made the choice to move forward with their own direction. So it literally got down to about 10 players, a few of which actually still remain either in Cold September or Cold Sep now. And we were doing 2 wars per week up through the double XP event that happened, I don't know, year and a half ago. I guess it was a year ago at this point. And at that point, we decided we wanted to go hardcore. We had went past the 2-star strategy. Don't get me wrong, we were still a Go Wipe clan. I was still a Town Hall 8, but we weren't just doing Go Wipe. We were doing like Go Wipe with backside hogs or Go Wipe with backside loons. So we were doing a little something more than what most clans were. So our success rate was pretty high. So when it went, double XP, we said, hey, we're just going to do this for clan perks. And we ended up sticking to it. And next thing you know, we're pushing to be one of the stronger clans out there to try to diversify our attack styles. And at this point, we still hold a lot of the mentalities as a group, where every single member has a voice, where all of the ideas that the leader is not a leader, he's part of a group of leaders. The co-leaders are the same way. We do everything diplomatically. So basically, if there's something that somebody brings up that's a really good idea, we'll put it to vote. So
or I'll put them in their place.
Or what?
Or I'll put them in their place over in Cold Sep.
Okay, so in cold September, we do it. We do it very, very simply. We're all adults. We all want to have fun. We all want to make friends through the game. Yes, we want to rock in war, but we do it in a means that virtually says we're gonna appease the masses. And so in that we have leaders, co-leaders, and then something we call council. Council being kind of a title between elder and co, that I actually accredit the idea, that the name of the idea, to one of the other FPC clans. Van from EE was talking about it. Emphatic Elite was talking about the way that they do things, and we had been talking about it for like 2 months about how to make this work and to give the clan back to the people instead of just the small leader group. And so we ended up dubbing our group the same as his with the name, and now the clan's basically ran by the group of people, and we all have certain tasks that we take care of, but we push to promote the fair play community and just have fun while we're in game with our friends. So that's where Cold September is as a whole and where it came from.
All right, that's pretty cool. You don't hear very many clans that have a really democratic sort of system. Usually, there's a more of a hierarchy where there's a leader and then kind of dictates to everybody else. So that's really interesting. I like that idea.
I appreciate it. I genuinely, in the bottom of my heart, I feel like, what is a leader if there's no people to lead? And if it's my vision and everybody believes in it, great. But at the same time, why would they want to stick around if I'm not willing to budge? So I think in 2 years, there's been one time that I've genuinely just had to say, no, guys, you're wrong. And this is, I'm going to pull the leader card this one time, and we're going to go this direction just for a time being. And then in the end, ultimately, it was better for the clan. But that's literally the only time that I can recall ever doing that. It's not my clan. We're all here because we want to be, and the people who have like mindsets stick around, and those that do not choose to go find a clan they fit into. So that's just the way I look at it. I'm a pretty laid back guy. I like to have fun with it. And, I've got a lot of respect for those people around me. It's always been my mentality to surround myself with people better than me at something. And I can genuinely say that each member of our clan has that attribute. So
I'm
not
definitely better than Shaggy. That's what he's trying to say.
That is the opposite of what I was saying. Now to credit that statement, notice that Castles is no longer in Cold September. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Wow.
That's true. I'm not.
All right, let's give Castle his airtime here. Let's give him his chance to step up on the soapbox. All right, Castle, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Cold September, or Cold Sept? I'm sorry.
About Cold Sept? Oh man, this is a short story, I guess, for me then. So basically, I guess it all starts. No, I think it's probably what, Shaggy? It's probably been like 6 months I've been with the franchise.
That I would say you're probably closer to 8 at this point, to be honest with you. It may be 6 months. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I think you're at about 8 months at this point.
Yeah. So it's been a little while, and basically, Warble, I don't remember how I got brought in. I think I was actually leading a clan of my own. Things weren't going exactly the way I wanted them to. I had a good team around me, but it was proving to be a lot of work because we were starting from the ground up. We had no members, and then myself and some friends got together. We started a clan, tried to grow it, but it was a lot of work starting from nothing. So we branched out. Some of us went one way, some of us went the other. I ended up in Cold September. To make a long story short, had a really great time in the clan. Felt like my personality aligned really well with everybody. I was having fun. We were warring all the time, and that was great. And then there was like a month or a month and a half where I went, not even that long ago, like 2 months ago, I spent a month in Cold Sept. Really liked the guys there. Was driving really well. It's I think Shaggy will agree. It's slightly more relaxed than Cold September. if for no other reason than the fact that we have Town Hall 8 integrated and not everybody's necessarily maxed, wouldn't you say, Shag?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so like we don't have everybody isn't completely maxed. And so it makes for a little more of a relaxed environment. Not every hit is, like, because when I'm in Cold September, like we'll be in a 35 person war and I'm a nearly max Town Hall 9 and I'll be ranked 30 on the war map. You know what I mean? So like
Oh, wow.
every opponent, yeah, man. So like every opponent is a difficult opponent. You know what I mean? So it's a little more relaxed. Anyway, one or two things happened, and Cold Sept was put in a position where they didn't have a leader. And it's funny, the day before we started talking about who should lead Cold Sept, I released a video, and in it made some comment to the effect of like, leading a clan's a lot of work. That's why I don't do it. And then like the very next day we were talking about who should lead Cold Sept, and there was just something about it that got me pumped, man. Like I won't say I was losing interest in Clash, but like I was looking for something to kind of like get me a little more engaged. And so I sent Shaggy a message and just told him, basically how I saw myself fitting in as a leader in Cold Sept. Came over. The guys are great. There was already great co's there, right? So we've got Jarby, Seth, SSM, Lil Bolt. I don't want to miss anybody. Who else? Zabby. I don't think I've missed anybody. Does Shaggy?
I think that's it.
So like they already had a great leadership team. Then there's some elders and some longtime members, Matt and a couple other guys. So fortunately, they opened the doors and said, you know what? Yeah, let's bring this Joker in, see what he can do. And yeah, man, and the rest is history. And so right now we're just kind of I've actually got a meeting later on tonight with the co's. We're going to talk about some changes to the plan, roll those out on Saturday. And basically what we're going to try to do right now is just gear up. We're not going to be taking in any more non-leveled members. We're not going to kick anybody that's there right now, but we're just going to be making sure that we're bringing in higher level players, higher level bases, and start to push Cold Sept to the same place that Cold September is.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So
if you wanna join, you're more than welcome.
See, I'm not. I don't think I would
you're not
fit any of
looking
that criteria.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I think if I went to some place like Cold September, they'd be showing me the door.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate your dedication to your clan. But I had to try to snake you on live air.
Well, at least you're open about it,
Yeah, well, what are you gonna
do? That's just cold. I just want to point that out. That is cold.
Cold September.
No, I'm kind of the recruiter for or the I guess go-between liaison or whatever you want to say for setting up a range matchup. So I've kind of found a good place in my clan right now. So I doubt you could pull me out of there at any point in time for the foreseeable future. So
for sure, man. I'm just teasing you.
No, I know. I'm just so everybody out there knows they ain't stealing me away.
Yeah, Twitter just goes crazy tomorrow. It's like Warble's leaving for Cold Sept.
And the rest of my clan would be going, adios, loser.
I doubt that. But anyway, that's it, man. That's pretty much my history with Cold Sept. It's a pretty short one. Just joined as a member of Cold September, decided I'd like to step up, and the boys and single girl over there said, yeah, come on over. We need somebody to kind of take the reins. And just like Shaggy said, no one person leads a clan. So I by no means do I make unilateral decisions, but I've got that title next to my name, and hopefully I do a good job by everybody.
Cool. Now, explain to me the relationship between Cold September and Cold Sept. Is it like a feeder clan? Is it a sister clan? You'd mentioned offline or off the air that what you called it, but I'll let you go ahead and throw that out there. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Shaggy would be a better person to speak to that, just because he's kind of on the forefront of, we've got a new clan that we use strictly for applicants to come in and try out and all that. I already know what he's going to say. We're a sister clan, although I call us a brother clan. I think that historically it's been somewhat of a feeder at times, Shaggy.
Yeah. So here's the way that I would break it down. First off, the vision for Cold Sept, since we started it in December of 2014, has been to be a sibling clan. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm not even going to say sister, even though I want to. So basically,
I
the
prefer sibling. Gender neutrality. Twitch
there you
chat
go.
gender neutrality.
There you go. So yeah, we want them to have their own visions and their own motives to be successful. However, um, historically, the way that things have operated, because Cold September is extremely into the arranged war scene, um, we pool the players. So if we have an arranged war and we need people, we'll snag whatever we need weight wise from either clan. Cold Sept has done one or two in the exact same respect. So there's transparency and open movement to an extent, but we do keep at least for now the higher weight and hero people in Cold September with the trial lab. And a lot of this was sparked for two reasons. One is very, very simple, and I'm going to say a dirty word here. It's called hunt, because some clans kind of think that's cool and they go on that path with their war choices. And this is to help filter through that. Part of the process is that we take them and we put them through there for unforecasted amount of time, 1, 2, 3 wars, whatever, till they either prove they're worthy or not. And we intend, unless it's just someone that we have a referral for or someone that just absolutely stands out during round one hits to kind of be living the values of Cold September. We want to put them through SEP first. We want to give them first dibs, if possible, because we do take a lot of referral applicants in Cold September. But realistically, the end game goal is always to have two clans that are able to match each other toe to toe in a war, and that's what we're building for. So will I still castles players? Yeah, from time to time. But it comes down to clan needs. I mean, I would not bat an eye at sending someone over there and think I would was doing them an injustice, because the teams are the same mentality wise, and all of our mission is the same, and that's just to create a big, awesome environment that's open and transparent for everyone.
It sounds like it's it sounds like it's kind of like a family sort of deal where you guys kind of send people back and forth as needed. So it's a lot like us with the Clash Files family. We are able to pull from a bigger pool of players if we need somebody,
right,
given a little notice. So
absolutely,
that's got to help a lot in arranged matchups then.
Yeah, when you can pull from 100 people versus 50 at the most, then yeah, absolutely. What it also does is it ensures, because you have those additional groups, you have different groups of leaders that you can say, okay, well, this guy, or not even leaders, just attack specialist, this guy's doing a really hot job at whatever attack it is, and I've got somebody working on it. And maybe they're not as successful, or maybe that clan or this clan doesn't have that specialist already, operating at some ridiculous success rate. You can literally just say, hey, go there for a couple of weeks, go slide under that player and let them mentor you a little bit, and then bring back your knowledge, and you can do the same thing for our team. So we've always been a little bit slow with integrating new attack styles, simply because if something isn't broken, don't fix it. I've never understood that, why all of a sudden somebody will release this awesome new attack. It's the latest, greatest thing. And then all of a sudden, your next 4 wars, you see clans doing nothing but that, and they're failing epically. So, we kind of control that to an extent, and our people communicate enough to say, hey, I'm working on whatever this one is. And so everybody else doesn't jump on the bandwagon. They give them the respective time to get it down outside and inside of war before they kind of jump on the bandwagon. So if Cold September has somebody that specializes, we can transfer a player to represent that attack style in the other clan, or vice versa. We've done that a few times in the past. This is pre-Castles being leader, but we've done it, and it's been vastly successful. I mean, La Lune, I kind of took the brunt of the fails initially when we started rolling into the air scene there, and it took a point to where I pulled a couple of players from Sept over and said, okay, it's your turn to learn. You kind of see that you're doing some of it right. Let's tweak that. Let's get you up to the A game and send you back there, and you can help everybody else. It's just better for the entire family.
Cool. Yeah, anytime you guys get to exchange players like that, it's just amazing because, I mean, we've gotten a couple players into our clan that came from a different clan, and we're able to learn some stuff from them, and it's like, oh, wow, they did this, and we're going to have to start incorporating that into our attack style. To have somebody come in and mentor you on that would be even better. I mean, I could see that working real good.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just no point in letting everybody fall on their face or beat their head against the wall trying to learn something new when someone has already done that, and you can utilize that idea of what small tweaks are needed to go from a fail or a 1-star attack to a 3, because that line is so fine that you can fall into that rut for 2 and 3 straight weeks of trying to figure things out, when somebody can just go, oh, hey, dude, you're doing this one thing wrong, and then boom, all of a sudden you're tripling everywhere.
I recently visited your website, coldseptember.com, and I thought the embedded videos and stuff were really cool. You also had a section on there called the Goblin King. Can you tell us about that?
Goblin King.
Well, it's a brainchild of Castles. So Castles, you want to speak on it, or you want me to speak on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's do it together.
We're gonna hold hands.
So it was a cold September day. No, I can't take full credit. Once upon a time, I was a member of, I think there's a big clan family that has something to do with bears. Like they've got like river bears, emerald bears. I don't know. You can find them on the forums, and they used to have competitions all the time to see who could collect the most loot using the least amount of housing space. And it wasn't like a clan wide thing. It was just like a couple of people that would have competitions with one another, and I always thought that was so cool and fun, and I would participate. Thought it was a great idea, and then I kind of forgot about it for a long time. And then I think 2 months ago or so, Shag.
A little longer than that, but yep.
A little longer, a couple, 2-3 months ago. I was just trying to think of things that we could do to kind of, make the clan a little more fun. Not that it isn't fun already, but it's just like there's only so many things you can do in Clash of Clans, right? You pretty much got clan wars and farming. So I was thinking, what can we do to, give another little fun activity or something for the clan to do and kind of like brag about and have a good time. And I remembered how fun that was, and I thought, well, why not turn that into a game? Make it the Goblin King. And originally my idea was that you would see who could collect the most loot using the least amount of housing spaces, and then whoever that person is, they have to share the replay. You take a screenshot, you post it on the website, and they're the Goblin King. They got the bragging rights. And then it evolved a little bit. I think the rules are a little bit different than housing spaces. So Shaggy can explain how like the Cold September version works.
Yeah. So basically, it's loot gathered or loot gained from the cost of truth. So, and it would still be housing space if you went in with just, a hero and somebody had all their resources sitting on the side and nothing shot it. You would have zero resources spent to gain. So that would be a pure profit. But basically, we just say if your heroes and your CC don't count for anything, the troops you use, we take the levels, find out what they cost, multiply it by the amount, and you have a gross total and a net total. The net total is what the Goblin King title is. So whoever can be the most profitable is who wins, and we make a big deal out of it inside the family through our announcement threads, and they get their own special posts full of made up comedy things about them. Some of it may be true, but most of it's just comedic things to get a chuckle out of. And, we celebrate their success. And I think Luke is our last one. And of all people, King Aaron, one of the codes from Cold September, may have beat him yesterday. I've got a screenshot I've got to do the math on. And Aaron stole it from Bolt. and then he upped his own ante, and then Luke got it, and poor Luke, I was way behind on getting his post up, and then I think King Aaron took it again just yesterday. Yeah, it was an insane raid. So we'll see on that one, but it's just for fun. It's just something we do interclan to give us something outside of clan wars or arranged wars to build some hype. So it's just for us.
Yeah, I think it was Luke that I saw on there. Something about liking long walks on the beach, and
that's Luke.
Yep.
Okay, and I also saw in there, this one's more for Castle, I guess, that there's a Castle's 3-Star Academy. Can you fill us in a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure, man. 3-Star Academy is just kind of like, it's like, I've got my YouTube page. I guess I'll plug that, youtube.com/c/castles COC. That's COC. Don't say it aloud. And anyway, man, I was just trying to think, I've got this YouTube page. What am I going to call it? I'm not going to call it like Castles' YouTube page. Like, I needed some kind of a brand. So I just chose 3-Star Academy. And so basically, if for anybody that's visited the channel, they know basically all I do with the channel is I will do how-to guides. So my, a really popular one, it's up around like 40 or 50,000 views, which is a lot for me, is how to 3-star with dragons as a Town Hall 7, Town Hall 8. And so I discuss at length pathing principles with dragons and balloons. One of the more recent how-to guides that's fairly popular is how to EQ Goho Wee Wee. It's getting a lot of positive feedback. And so that's like the 3-Star Academy component, is doing these how-to guides. I'll showcase some of my attacks and just talk through it and give people, another resource, something that they can look to when they're trying to better themselves. Now, it's not only limited to my footage. So, for example, I'm not a Town Hall 7 or 8. So in that particular tutorial, I used footage from Clan Wars and used other members' attacks, which is kind of cool, because then on the one hand, like I'm doing a how-to guide trying to teach people, how to improve on their dragon pathing. But at the same time, I'm also showcasing members of Cold Sept and Cold September and showing, how good of attackers they are. And then the second thing that I do with the channel is just kind of plug Cold Sept and plug Cold September. So, everything from war recap videos to just simply just saying, hey, here's Riddick doing a 3-star max attack, and then we'll scout the base. I'll give a couple tips, and then we just basically watch the replay and shoot the shit. So that's what the 3-Star Academy is. It's just a name for my YouTube page.
Okay. And that would have led to my next question, which was, what kind of content do you have on your YouTube channel? So.
Yeah, for sure, man. So like that's the kind of content that's on there, and I'm not quite as hardcore as some of the other guys, like Galadon and Powerbang and Hulk. Like those guys live and breathe it. Mine's a little bit more low key. Not that theirs aren't quality. I'm not saying that, but I go for more quality over quantity, and I'm also very busy, with my real life. So I pretty much just put videos up when I've got the time, and if there's a new strategy that I'm starting to get good at, I'll put a video up. But I definitely wait until I'm very good at it before I go ahead and try to do an instructional.
All right, good deal. So people, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Castle's 3-Star Academy on YouTube. Pretty good stuff on there. I actually checked out some of the stuff, fact-finding mission,
Thanks, man. Yeah. And look, guys, here's the thing, right? Whether you like my content or not, just subscribe, right? Because it doesn't hurt you and it looks great for me. So just go on over there and hit that subscribe button. Do something nice out of your day. Do something nice for somebody.
While we're on the topic of media content, you guys are also streamers, and I believe that's more you, Shaggy. Why don't you fill us in on how to find your stream and what kind of schedule, if you have a schedule, do you kind of keep?
All right, so happily, I am Shaggy68 on Twitch. So twitch.tv /Shaggy68 SHAGGE68. And I stream Arranged Wars, and they're not always hours. So I stream every single weekend, usually some on Friday night and then some on Saturday. So Friday evenings, it usually kicks off. Anytime, of course, we always vary when we do our Arranged War searches, but it comes down to how many people come out attacking out of the gate. So if people come out, they're hot, everybody's on, then I'll basically kick in the first hour. But if it's a little slower starting war like Halloween was for say, I'll give it a couple hours, let some replays build, stream a few hours, and then I'll always try to catch the last 4 to 6 hours of any war because the content is extremely built at that point, and I can show a lot of replays, catch the intense finishes to any war. But I also stream a lot of things for the FPC. And so there was an opportunity not long ago where I went over and I streamed Emphatic Elite versus Kara Heroes. And then I streamed for Kara Heroes going for win number 200 against One Hive. I was in the One Hive clan at that point. But, the idea of the stream is just to celebrate, what's happening, the competitive nature of the clans, but more importantly, to give a middle ground for the teams that are playing at that point. It's that's one of the biggest problems that I have with Clan Wars as a whole or actually just Clash of Clans as a whole, is you have to have a external platform to message with your team on, more or less the other team. And the way that we look at Arranged Wars as a clan has always been, it's about the competition, win, lose, or draw. We want to have a great next level group to compete with. And the stream is about that. It's about giving us that middle ground to bond with the other teams, to meet new people, to have some fun. It's not a trollish stream. It's not a bashing stream of one clan or the other. I'm there to have fun and meet new people. And so I stream every weekend. And so far, I can't think of maybe once I've ever streamed during the week, and I literally had no idea what to say at that point. So I tend to keep it on the weekends. I mean, it's just, a lot more people tune in on weekends, obviously, because that their schedules are a little bit more free. And there's a lot to be learned from the attacks that you get to see. I mean, from these wars, we've learned tons of attack styles ourselves. So what better way to put it out to the world than to do it live? And, it's a lot of fun being able to give live feedback and then, get to interact with the attacker to hear what they were thinking when they did something. So it's Shaggy68 on Twitch, every weekend.
Nice. Yeah, that's the one thing. I mean, I've got such a goofy schedule. I don't have a real consistent schedule. I try to do it like Tuesday or Thursday, depending on whether I'm working or not. So it's nice for your viewers at least to have a regular schedule, so they know, hey, it's Friday. It's time to go check out Shaggy. So
well, I appreciate that. Castles has done a little streaming for us as well, so he's willing to. He's always willing to, but in that same note, this was like he does most of the YouTube. I do most of the Twitch. It's a fair workload. I enjoy doing Twitch, and he's much better at YouTube than I am. So we kind of have a great common ground from there. Not that I'm better at Twitch than he is. It's just I enjoy it and I hog all of it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and like here's the thing too, as well, is like number one, I recognize that Shaggy likes to do it. Not only do I recognize that he likes to do it, but he's good at it. And number two, man, if I'm streaming, I can't be online to watch him and troll. So, but yeah, no, I think Shaggy's absolutely right, man. I did do one stream. I split it with him, and I'd be happy to do it again in the future. But I don't know. Mine's got a little bit of a different flavor. I think you definitely aren't going to watch it with your kids.
Yeah, when I stream war stuff, I tend to switch to my channel just because this is more of a family-friendly channel here, and
Yeah, for sure.
I've streamed too many wars to know that they are not normally family-friendly.
Yeah, no, that's right, man.
That's usually the case. With me only streaming Arranged Wars, the benefit is, and I think part of the agenda is to get to the FPC a little bit later. So I'll kind of be light with this comment, but I'm fortunate enough to already have a relationship with a lot of people that we arrange with, and we're not in any form of a league. We have no want or desire to be considered, whatever those stupid rankings are that get people hunted all the time. That's never been our goal. So we play the game to be fun, and for me, fun is learning from people and interacting with them from the social aspect of the game. So mine's not horrible. I may drop some F-bombs from time to time, but it's never like degrading or disrespectful to the other team or a particular player on either side.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be a little forceful because you get a troll in the chat, and sometimes it's just you gotta draw that line.
Well, that's true. I may troll the trolls. I may do that from time to time because that is a lot of times fun. I just want to point that out. So if you come into my channel and you troll, then I'll probably troll you back.
Yeah.
You don't feed them, you just troll them back. That makes it a lot more fun.
Okay, and as you alluded to, you guys being part of the Fair Play community, what are your guys' thoughts so far on the Fair Play community? Obviously, you guys mentioned several times, so I'm guessing you're liking the Fair Play community.
Started, man.
Castles, you want to go first? Or you want to jump on this one?
Well, I cut Warble off. Warble, you want to finish what you're saying, man? You want to know what we think of FPC and what?
Yeah, FPC and basically, obviously, you guys have gotten some good matches out of it. So, I mean, just basically your thoughts on it.
Yeah, sure, man. I mean, mine's brief. I might as well go first because Shaggy's definitely more integrated than I am. But I like to joke, right? I say I joke with everybody. I'm like, well, FPC, right? Like we're the Boy Scouts of Clash. And it is funny, a funny way to say it, but I mean, I think it's a genuine explanation. I mean, basically the FPC, right? We promote fair play and being a half decent human being, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. So as far as FPC goes, I'm all for it. I'm definitely not as integrated as Shaggy, so I'll toss it to him in a sec. But I just want to say, it's good, right? I mean, I think it's hard to have a conversation about FPC without having a conversation about modders. And obviously, I mean, who likes modders? I think modders like each other. Modders like each other, I guess.
Sometimes I don't even think that. I don't think they like each other either.
No, I don't know. I mean, you got to think that they like each other. Like they've got their own little club. When I think about FPC versus modders, my mind goes, and I might be dating myself now, but you remember the movie Grease? What's the original Grease? Who was the actor in that? The head actor?
John Travolta.
John Travolta, Warble, yes. My mind automatically goes to Grease, and John Travolta and his greasers, that's the modders, and we're the clean preppy people on the other side of the school. That's always what I think of. But anyway, man, basically, screw modders. It's not fun. When you get into a war with them, it's more depressing than anything because you're like, crap, I just wasted, this wastes 48 hours of wartime for me. So I like FPC. I like what they're doing. I like that they promote the fair play, and I'm happy that Shaggy's as involved as he is because it really keeps Cold September plugged into it. So I think he'd like to speak to it now for sure.
Yeah. So I don't whatsoever make a Grease reference. I just want to throw that out there. Wow, that one was stretching for me. So here's my take on it. Without it, then the game's almost only social for me. It's the group that I'm fortunate enough to have gained early access to, and I'm gonna give it 3 shout outs. I'm not even supposed to do that at this point in the show, but I'm gonna do it anyway. There a while back when One Hive and WHF were warring and Powerbang was streaming it, I somehow connected with BBJ from One Hive Invicta, who in turn connected me with Chief Kev from 2.0, and Chief Kev put his name on the line for Cold September when this started. We had went out desperately looking for something more in the game. We had heard of different groups. We're not a Reddit clan. We never have been, and we never will be. We heard of DWA and some other associations. We heard that something called FPL was coming. And so I went just on this massive, reach out to everybody mission, basically trying to find a way to get us into something. And ultimately, FPL disappeared. It never came to life simply because if you put the title league to anything, you basically you mean that there has to be some form of ranking. You're not inspiring anything except for people to be overly competitive and ultimately end up as trolling one another. So the word community holds strong in my heart, just because that's kind of how we already led our clans, as far as a family or a community. But with the fair play community as a whole, it started out, as Duche mentioned on, I want to say it was
Douche.
probably on your last show, but it was on Bendel, and then we put together a forum set, which you've talked about in the past, fairplaycommunity.net. It gives us the opportunity not only to look at players, to share players, to help one another for arranging, but it also helps us forecast of what we can do to help the game as a whole progress, for people with like mindsets. So, from my side, I absolutely love it. I can't tell you how much I've learned from the other leaders that I've got to interact with on a daily basis. Yes, there's the forums. Yes, we've arranged through there. Yes, there's the Bindle community. Yes, we've done that. But I also have a select group of people that I'm fortunate enough to have now called friends. That when I face challenges that are outside of the realm of myself or my co's, or someone reaches out to us to want to arrange with us, that I can tag those guys in, or those gals in, and use them as a resource to ensure that my clan is safe and able to progress, and they're dedicating their efforts the right way. We're not aligning with a mod clan. We're not aligning with someone that's kind of, in a gray area of whether or not they're fair play or not. So, there's a lot of benefits to it. And, I can't speak well enough about the people that I've had the opportunity to interact with through it. So it's been great for Range Wars, and, overall it's a huge learning experience. So, pretty stoked about it. It's kind of my second home outside of CS.
Yeah, we've met some pretty cool people ourselves. Being in part of the fair play community, and it's really been cool to talk to some of these people, and some of the stuff you can learn from them is just amazing. I mean, it's just opened up a whole new world. I mean, to steal the glory. So,
Right. Here's where my mindset is, and this is a brand new concept. I was really hoping something was coming out at ClashCon, that would make this easier to arrange wars. Again, I don't care about tournaments. If we ever wanted to go do tournaments, we could. I just wanted an easier way to arrange wars, and I hope that comes at some point. But realistically, this has been, as far as FPC for me, it's the next best thing that's been ever added to the game, outside of my own team. It's there's a lot to learn, as you said, and there's a whole lot of people there that literally want to push the community as a whole. And I think with all of these other groups that are potentially smaller than the FPC at this point, because there's some pretty big names that are involved in FPC. So it gets a little extra exposure that some of the smaller groups do not get. For me, if they want to do the smaller groups, hey, I support you. I hope that everybody's part of some type of fair play group. But eventually, if you want to have little groups where you guys all share players, and you do your own inter-clan scrimmages, great. But come on over anyway. There's no reason we all shouldn't fall under one umbrella and really start speaking to the message to get it up the ladder of what we want out of the game. Because the more of us that say the same thing, the more Supercell as a whole is going to have to listen. That's my overall vision. Is if we're all on the same page anyway, why are we going different directions?
I totally understand. I totally understand that, and totally agree with that. I mean, rather than 50 different people screaming 50 different messages, unite as one voice. Kind of like that. I don't know if you've seen that video where basically one person starts out saying one word or whatever, and then more and more people keep saying that same word, and it just keeps getting louder and louder and louder. You know,
Right.
it just was it. That's what I keep thinking of whenever I think of the fair play community. So the more of us that we can pool together, the more of a voice we will have to, talk to Supercell and get them interested in what we're interested in.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I mean, all of us are there for the next level of gaming and wars. All of us are there to drive the community that we care about. So, and I know those other groups are the same way, but why must we divide our forces? Your army going that way and my army going this way doesn't make sense if we can both go to the same target at the same time and attack. So, let's attack this topic together, and eventually get Supercell's attention as a group. And once we do, we all have a voice there. So let's work together to take those most important messages and roll them uphill. That's just the way that I look at it. And that's my big vision. Maybe it comes true, maybe it doesn't. But what I can say is I believe in what we're doing already. And as long as they'll have us there, then we'll be part of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the one thing is I like about the fair play community is they don't set any conditions on. You can still run your clan the way you want. Basically, the only condition is that you're a fair play clan.
Yep.
And
that's exactly it. And it doesn't matter what town hall levels you take.
Right.
As long as you can prove at any given point, if somebody says, "Hey, I don't believe you," you'll open the door and say, "Hey, come on, come look at our last 2 wars,
Yep.
whatever." Then so be it. And does that seem big brotherish? Yeah, maybe. But realistically, we want to make sure it's fair for everybody. So if one of the guys from one of the other FPC clans said, "Hey, Shaggy, I don't believe that you're doing it right. I'm coming to watch." We open the doors. We've done it many, many times already, and it's usually about the clan that we're facing, or just because somebody wants to come hang out, and the door's open to those people because I know that I could do the same. So it's the right way to do things, in my opinion. That's me, and my opinion doesn't rule for everybody because everybody plays the game differently. But if we're screaming that we want the same thing, then let's get together on it and make it happen.
Absolutely, and our leadership has been unanimous about that from day one. They said they didn't care if it was one of the other leaders. They would boot them immediately if there was even the possibility that they were modding. So I mean, even though they're they love each other to death, but they said if I found out they were modding, they'd be gone.
Right, and I'll elaborate on that enough to say that if it was me that decided I was going that direction, no matter what kind of time and effort I've put into the group, I literally would hand over the reins and just go find a different group. Because it's not fair to change a majority because I as a person would have changed my mindset, and my mindset's not ever going to change. But realistically, it's unfair to the team just because there's one cat there that wants to do things differently. Just eliminate the cat. That's the bottom line. And if it was me, it would be me. If it was a leader, it'd be a leader, or anybody else. That's just the way that I am.
Yeah, I actually left a clan because they'd waved the fair play banner pretty hard, and then I got messaged by a co-leader saying, "Well, I hate that it's a thing, but in order for us to be competitive," and I was like, "Okay." Finished out my 2 war attacks and I was gone.
It's insane to me. We our SEP team did an arranged war, and surprisingly, this group was vouched for by another FPC clan because they looked legit. And so we arranged the SEP team a war with them. We did the war, and it was competitive. It sure was. We combined at that point our SEP and Evo teams. Then we had a couple of subs for weight from September that came over, and we did it. I was in the war. They put me in for weight purposes. I watched the war. I didn't say a word. And after war, I went ahead and just brought it to the attention to one of their leaders, the guy that I thought was the leader of the clan. I was like, "Hey, buddy, you need to check out the replays during this hour and this hour." And just to give you an FYI, there were some pretty suspect things there. I'm not going to call any names because it's up to you as a leader to do it. I don't want to make you suspect someone that you don't see, but I think you need to take a look at that. Come to find out, literally last week, I get a message from one of the other FPC clans and said, "Hey, did you see what just happened in the Bindle community?" And I said, "No. What are you talking about?" It was a recruiting thread. And he's like, "Well, you remember so and so from that clan?" I said, "Yeah. What's the big deal?" He's like, "Here's a shot. He just shared recruiting." And I had the X mod symbol on it. I was like, has anybody told the leader yet? And he said no, because the leader had reached out to me later and said, "Hey, I heard you talked about this. Can you tell me who it is?" I was like, "Well, replays are gone now, so I can't go back and look." Whatever. And then I got that from him, and I sent it to the leader. And the leader never responded, but the FPC guy immediately responded within a few minutes, or I say immediately within a few minutes. He's like, "Yeah, he's gone from their clan now. They actively removed him," and that course of action is the correct one for FPC. You can't control what everybody's doing on their device. You can't. You want to. You can question characteristics and personality types, and you can watch their attacks. But you can't ultimately control another human being from a remote location. It's what you do to actively remove that type of action from your clan that defines you. And they did the right thing. So that was a huge one for me, and they bought my respect when they actively said, "Okay, I've got proof you're out." So that like I said, I ramble on FPC a lot during my streams too. So I guess I'm doing it on yours. Shut up.
No, you don't.
And that's the thing, that's how people learn about it, and that's how people find out about it. Because there's people that don't know this stuff, and to get it out there to them, I think is invaluable to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Just on that note, World, but you're absolutely right. So like something I do, I've got about 5 people that I coach privately. So obviously I've got the YouTube channel that's obviously a free service, and I respond to people both on Twitter and on the Supercell forums with like everything. Like if people send me a base, I'll help sketch an attack and briefly discuss like the attack strategy with them. But it's amazing, man. Like some of the people I interact with, they're semi-core players or casual players, and they'll get into these wars and they'll be saying, "Man, you gotta come see these attacks. I don't understand." Like they know where everything is, and people just don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times, because if you've hit enough anti-3 bases or whatever, you kind of get an idea where the double bomb spots are. And then when you path around, I'm not a hogger, but when our guys path around them, they think we're modding, and it's like, no, because we actually did an infiltration war in Steal the Glory, and we went over to another clan, and they're like, "How did you know that?" And they're like, "Well, there's only so many spots you can have double giant bomb spots, and so there's one there, there's one there.
No,
if you move a couple, take out this defense here, they're gonna go right around it."
No, for sure, man. Like, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, see, I feel like there's 2 ways. There's 2 things that stand out in my mind for negative for like the things. Sorry, there's 2 things I think that are negative that result from modding. The first is that people become hypersensitive. So just like you're saying, you hit a base once or twice, there's only so many places double big bombs can be, and so after you've hit it a couple of times, you can pretty well figure it out if you're a half decent player, right? But people become hypersensitive, and they're like, "Well, these guys are modding, obviously," which I think your point was that we're not modding. We've just hit your base enough times that we can kind of guess where the giant bombs are, right?
Right. And the other thing is when they've got an internet base, and it's like, "Well, here, I just pulled it up on the internet, and here's your bomb, here's your bomb, here's your bomb."
Yeah.
Here's your Teslas.
Exactly.
It's like, how could I not know?
That's right, man. And then so that's the first negative thing I think that comes from modding. But the second negative thing I think that comes from modding is that it's not always a whole clan that mods, right? It's you could have a clan with only 5, 6 people that mod or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening is, you get into a war, and let's say you're number 20 on the map, and the enemy number 20 is on the map. And if you're like me, you pay attention to how well your mirror does, because you want to know how you stand up against them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because you don't know when it's happening, but you could have, there's definitely been times where, there's been a modder out there who mods both their attacks. does an awesome job, and then the person on the other team is looking at themselves thinking, man, if he's that good, what's wrong with me? And I don't know about you guys, but when I don't do well in an attack or something, I feel awful about myself. You know what I mean? Because I want to do well. And so I just think it's too bad that modders go out there and they do what they do, because I think it can affect people's confidence in the game and maybe make them feel like they're not as good at the game as they should be. Right? I don't
Yep.
know. I don't know if I'm being clear or not. Maybe you guys have some comments with respect to that, or
Well, I mean, just as an example, when you see, as an example, Twitch streams or whatever, where these, or YouTube videos where these guys are clearing bases and they've got a perfect war with 17 attacks remaining, or something like crazy like that.
yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy.
It's like, come on, really?
Yeah, no, it's terrible, man. Money's not fun, but at the end of the day, also, I'd like to just say this to anybody who cares about what I have to say is, don't let it bother you. If you're somebody out there that gets really upset about modding, I think whatever, man. It's 48 hours of your life that you can focus on farming. Don't get too upset, because I feel like if we get too upset, then the modders, not they kind of just they win extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they feed off of that.
Yeah, man. So like, I don't know. If it were me, man, I'd promote FPC. I'd be a member of FPC. I'd put FPC in my clan description. But yeah, I just don't think that any of us should get too worked up about modders, because I'm a big believer in karma, and I'm also a big believer in what goes around comes around. So it'll all work itself out.
We can hope.
Yeah, exactly. We can hope.
So have you guys mentioned that you're big believers in it, and I saw recently you guys just had a big matchup that was a Fair Play community matchup. So want to give us a little talk about that?
Yeah. Well, actually, let's just talk about quantity first. Before we even, well, I think we've touched on quality to an extent of the wars, but Cold September alone has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've done six at this point. We have 2 more arranged through the FPC in the next 2 weeks. And we have we've done a couple of randoms in between, but basically we're booked through the end of November. All of the matches we've done, except for 2, I think, have been through the FPC. So we knew we could trust them. 2 of the things were rematches just for fun, because we had such a good time with the people originally that we decided to do it again. But we have faced Morning Sword, which is composed of original One Hive members. We've done One Hive Invicta twice, because they're like family at this point. We did One Hive 2.0 twice, because they're like family at this point. We did Warwells last weekend. Tons of fun on that one. Phenomenal attackers all the way through. And then we've done 2 different scrimmages that we've taken part of. When we kicked off the FPC, there was just I think there was 6 or 8 clans that we just threw people into them, balanced the weights. I believe Plow did all of the weights for that war. And that's kind of how we kicked it off. So, we kind of just put a bunch of people together and had some fun to have big streams and YouTube stuff to support it and bring attention to the community. And then we did one where we basically said, we're keeping a weekend off of our arranged schedule. I intentionally said we're not booking anybody that weekend. And we allowed the FPC clans to put together their weights and come in and have a Cold September dominant war on our side. So it ended up being, we had a few more people opt out than we expected. So it ended up being Cold September, 30 people or something like that. And then we had like 10 from Bada Bing clan. And then I think 1 from One Hive, 1 from Northern members, and 1 from Car Heroes in our team. And then on the other side, it was like Mental Martyrs, Emphatic Elite, Kara Heroes, and then, a couple of oddballs and 2 Cold September members. So we did that one. Absolutely competitive wars. The funny thing is, we were talking about modders a moment ago, is these wars are so competitive and there's such good players in them. They no longer are considered a win if you clear all nines. It's impossible. If you like, the buy-in for an FPC war on the level with the people that we arrange with has been all of the nines 3-starred, all of the 10s 2-starred, plus there's some triples from Town Hall 10s as well at this point. Now, understand the FPC as a group. Obviously, there's all different mixes of Town Halls, blah, blah, blah. So don't get afraid of that if you're listening to the podcast. There's clans out there that are ranged from that side, but from our side, our range wars have been just, oh my gosh, down to the last 5 and 10 minutes. With 1, 2, 3, 4, well, five of those wars literally came down to the last 20 minutes of war. Who could handle the pressure the best? And the dialogue that goes back and forth, it's sure, we joke a little bit about our own attacks, but there's no smack talk or whatever between this negative. So it creates a great environment. Our people get to visit them, their people get to visit us afterward. They all talk on the streams. We share love, we share contact info, and it's been tons of fun. We've won some, we've lost some. I don't care or keep up with that factor. We've probably lost more than we've won of those. But the next 2 weeks, we dedicated November to new groups from the FPC that we have not matched yet. And Warwells was the first one. The next 2 weeks are brand new clans that we have not touched yet. And then the 4th week, I've got a whole other one in mind. So it's a lot of fun. We love them. They love us, I hope. And, it's super competitive. I mean, when you get into a war and you realize that, as the baby 10 sitting on the map, which is what I am 90% of the time, 100% of the time at this point, I'm going to get tripled. And if I don't get tripled, then it's magic. So, these guys are that good. So I learned something every one of them. We've had some guys like Valks were never big in Cold September, as far as a war troop. And then when we face some of these clans, you see, Goho Weeva, or whatever it's called, Gaveho. You see that often. And so now we have teammates that are inspired to go that route. So it gets, you learn a lot, you gain a lot, and then you also develop friendship. So, from our side, we've done, 3, 5, 6 so far. We have 2 definite arranged further this month, and then 1 more that should be coming as well.
Oh, I was just sorry, I got distracted. I was responding to Mr. Doctor here in the chat. So
I see it.
We've done 3. We've done set up 3 so far, and we missed on 1, but we've had 2 good ones, and we had North Watchers, and just recently we had Reddit Raiders, and we've had a lot of fun. Both clans were outstanding, and we look forward to more clans from the FPC. So yeah, I totally get where you're going. We've got at least 6 clans that we're talking to right now that we're trying to match up with. So
yeah, I saw on Twitter where you guys had matched, and I knew that there was some great matches coming. So congratulations on those, and the more clans that get excited about these arranged wars, the more of an option that we're going to have to compete with new teams, new people that we don't even know yet. And that's the exciting thing about it is, when I came into FPC for our group to represent, I didn't know most of these people. Shoot, some of these clans I'd never even heard of. Some of them I had, and realistically, when we were building out Cold September, they were the clan. They were the one that you wanted to be. And now we're getting to interact with those guys, and some of which we have faced, and some we're going to. And so there's a whole different level of excitement to know what you're getting to compete against. I mean, those were the people that you put on a pedestal and learn from coming up. So it's I can't say anything negative. There's literally nothing negative I can say about arranged wars that are fair play or the FPC. So I'm all for it. I'm probably the biggest fanboy of the group, and they probably mocked me behind closed doors because I talk about it so much. But it's okay, because I love the mentality that comes from it, and I think that we can do great things with it.
Castle, they're calling for you in chat.
What?
They're calling for you in chat, man. They're calling you out, man.
I just pulled it up. All I see is Whalicious saying, "Who's cat?" He says, "Who's castle?"
Oh no, you're one of those grammar people. Don't read any of my stuff then.
Whalicious. It's plural, bro. Castles.
There was a couple before that. Mr. Doctor had noticed you.
Well, for those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, longtime member of Cold September, more recent fan of the Clash Files and Warble, and new leader of Cold Sept.
I think it's Doc 2.0 that's in chat, actually. Seeing
Doc,
that.
what's up, man? He's one of our newest members.
I think that's who it is. I'm just guessing though.
Yo, Warble, I got a topic, man, if you don't mind. I
Go.
don't maybe that's not something that you guys do, but
No, go right ahead. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to do the stream is so I can get guys on here and let them talk about what they want to talk about. I mean,
Sure.
I know I do a little guideline here, but that's just to keep me on track more than anything.
all right, cool, man. Well, maybe like and you could speak to it first if you want, and then maybe Shaggy will speak to it, and I can conclude or however we want to do it. But like something I'd like to talk about is just like I think that something I've noticed since I've gotten serious about Clash over the last 8 or 9 months is like how awful people feel, right, when they have a bad attack, even just one attack, right? Like you've seen that happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then very quickly that'll turn into a like that can turn it's a slippery slope. You feel bad about one attack, and then all of a sudden it affects your next one. Then before you know it, you're in a slump and you're just feeling really bad about yourself. And so I guess my topic is, what's like, how does your clan family handle it, or like, what is your personal opinion or belief on maybe how to deal with the stress of a bad attack, maybe, and then also maybe you want to speak to kind of like, what's your advice for people that enter into a slump? Because Shaggy sometimes has some advice, and sometimes I'll have different advice, and everybody's advice is different when it comes to getting out of a slump. So, like, what do you guys think?
Shaggy, I'll let you go ahead and take this first, and then I'll turn it back over to Castle after you're done.
All right. So first response: burn them all at the stake. I'm just kidding. All right. So first and foremost, most people quote, "I'm gonna slump. I'm gonna opt out of war for a while." Okay, that's the first.
Super common.
That's the worst thing you can possibly ever do. And I'm gonna say this openly: if you have already diagnosed that you have something going on in your personal life that's affecting your game time, okay, go handle real life because it should always come first. Then we can focus. However, if that's the mentality and you're still playing as much as you always have, real life is fine, and then you just think that's going to be best for the clan, I completely disagree. If you're a long-term member, what you should do is that you should expect constructive feedback from your team. It shouldn't be fail, horrible attack, what are you doing, blah, 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 when you get back to chat. Hopefully, somebody in the clan advocates to stop that and gives, maybe light feedback as to what went wrong during the raid, such as, the free spell is a little bit behind, or, hey, Castles, if you'd done this, blah, blah, blah. And this is in the moment feedback that I'm giving in chat. If somebody in your clan is doing that, then you can go, you know what? You're right. Now that I've watched the replay, I kind of see that, and I can work on it. That's constructive. If you want to take time, and everybody draws out attacks, or they should, sketch out your attack and listen to what your team says. Don't go to one guy who doesn't specialize, or girl that doesn't specialize in the attack. We basically, we have people that decide attack rounds of when who should hit, but we put it out to an open forum because I'm not a hogger. I've never been a hogger. And if I'm going to do a hog attack, then I need the people who know hog. I don't need an air guy telling me how to do hog attacks. So I put it out there, and whoever those people are, they should have the freedom to speak and to coach you on your attack plan, and then also what went wrong with it in a constructive manner. Do not kick somebody in the ribs when they're down because they fail, because they will eventually leave, or they'll eventually do something, whatever detrimental to the clan, which could be as simple as just being a bad attacker ongoing. So be constructive with your people, receive constructive feedback as well as the people are meant to take it, or to give it rather, and be open to change. I don't know it all. I know I hope probably less than everybody else in our clan. Our entire family at this point. So, I can learn every day, and I've been playing for 2 years. So I know some of the newer clashers or people that have less experience can do the same thing. Don't be a know-it-all. Be open to what other people can give you for your game to make it to be better for the overall team.
That's pretty good advice there. So
thanks.
Yeah, I'm totally on point with Shaggy, guys. Everything he said applies, and maybe I'll speak more generally, I guess, Warble, since he kind of covered like the specifics.
Okay.
I just think for me, guys, for anybody that's listening, for me, I would agree. I think I tend to agree with Shaggy. I don't think that taking a break is necessarily the best thing to do, but I will say, everybody's different, right? So if somebody and maybe Shaggy, you want to comment after I say this, but if somebody has it in their head that they need a break, then maybe a break is what's best for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and no. 90% of the time when the breaks are happening, when they ask or request for a break, it's because someone's not constructively giving them feedback to make them want to do better. So unless it's because they have something going on in real life, maybe it's just in game time. Usually the reason they want to take the break isn't because they feel like they're failing to triple. It's because someone's not inspiring them to be better to attack every single attack as they go on. So that's just just my thoughts on it.
What a lot of our guys do in Steal the Glory is what we encourage them to do is if you have a failed attack or you're in a slump or something, come back into the chat and talk somebody else through it, because you see, if you watch your replay, you'll see what you did wrong and talk somebody through it and get them, put the next guy on the right path. And a lot of times when you're working through your attack and see what you did wrong, you'll correct it next time, especially on the fly when things don't go right. Your king starts to walk or your queen walks or something like that. We had one today that the queen just ran around the side of the base. She shot 15 tiles around the side of the base.
Yeah, that's brutal. And Supercell, fix the Archer Queen.
It was weird because she should have went in, but all of a sudden she just, I don't know what she locked onto, but she ran around the side of the base and totally left her tanks. So
yeah, man. So basically, the bottom line is shit happens, and I guess all I want to say on the topic is of all the things you can do, I think the most important thing, and I'm having a big Discord session. It's optional, but anybody that from Cold Sep that wants to come can on Saturday. Everybody knows about it. It should be a good time. But something I'm going to be stressing to everyone, man, is I think people perform better when they're having fun. They're in a stress-free environment. I cage fight semi-professionally, and I know that I get nervous, I get tense when I'm walking into the cage, but ultimately the difference between winning and losing is just letting go and having a little bit of fun. And so, what I'm gonna be stressing to my guys and girls is just relax. If you have a couple of bad wars, it is not the end of the world. And I'm hoping that instilling that value in them and that peace of mind that they can just relax a little bit will yield some pretty positive results.
Cage fight, that still just blows my mind.
Yeah. Intense. There's been some intense nights.
I bet. But yeah, our guys, we have a lot of fun in our chat. Our leader is JP is so cool. He's like, I don't care if we get the red line. He says, go out there, have fun. Especially in our farm wars. He's like, I don't care if we get the red line, practice an attack. He says, just do what you got to do out there, and work it out in the arranged wars or when stuff counts.
Yeah. I like that approach a lot, man. That have fun, we're serious, we want to win, but have fun approach. That's A1.
And that's been that really helps a lot. And I totally agree with what Shaggy said also about don't take that next war off. Because then you're out of sync and stuff like that, and you come back in and you're a little rusty because you haven't done it, and you just get out of your routine. And I think one of the things you can do is just push up and try to practice an attack in the wild. Granted, it's not the same thing, but it helps if you're trying to work on that queen walk, or you're trying to work, the 6 golems or something. You can find a ton of those bases if you just push up.
Absolutely agree.
For sure.
Yeah, the benefit of the push, even after the algorithm changed to where you match your town hall more often, the benefit is that the higher you go in cups, the more certain you are that they're going to have a good CC to battle against. When I finally got my war troops up as a town hall 10, I just said, hey, I'm going to champ and I'm going to see what happens. And I stayed forever in masters as a 9 and a 10. But I went up to champs and just hung up there. It was nothing to do with, trying to push. It was just trying to hit better bases and figure out the new attack styles.
Yeah, I've been goofing around in Crystal just because, I should be down in Silver farming the crap out of stuff because I need to get I'm a Town Hall 10 and I'm a newer Town Hall 10, so I've got plenty of stuff to be doing, so... But I've been up there just working on stuff like a queen walk and messing around with my golems, trying to get a little better. And somebody pointed me in a direction for a new attack style that he's been goofing around with it, and he showed me some replays, and I'm kind of excited about it. And it's troops that I never thought I'd use in the same in a troop comp, but it's working for him, and I'm willing to give it a shot.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm getting ready to wrap the show here, guys, but I'm going to try to get a couple questions from chat first. And ZBear93 asks, what's your guys' favorite troops?
Archer Queen, but I don't think that's the direct comment that I can give. That's the only troop. Personally, and I am the worst person in the world to say it, but I have level 1 Valks, and they're still my favorite troop. I rarely use them anymore because I can't, being a 10, but they historically, when I want to have a fun raid and I want to break up what's happening, get out of my Lalo phase, stop failing at hogs, and get out of the 2-star Town Hall 10 game and just do something fun, Valks have always, since I began, since I was able to build them, not since I began the game, but since I was able to build them, they were my favorite troop because they're underutilized, in my opinion, and they're super tough to control, but they're a lot of fun once you figure them out.
Cool. How about you, Castle?
Man, that's a tough question, dude. Because now I got to decide, am I picking based on how well they attack or how cool they look? I think attack wise, my favorite is probably, it's not the Archer Queen, honestly. I think my favorite attacker is balloons. Balloons are definitely my favorite, and I also find them aesthetically pleasing in game. If you guys ever just watch them, it's nice. They float around. They got a shadow. So my favorite troop is definitely balloons. I also like the sound they make when you deploy them.
I couldn't tell you what sound any troop makes anymore. Mine's been muted for so long. I have no idea.
I muted the music, but not the sound. But my favorite troop, just purely on I don't know, overall, I think minions, man. There's something about minions. They make a cool sound when you drop them. They're these little badass flying dragons. I think minions are my favorite troop.
I'm a golem guy. I love my golems.
Oh yeah?
Hell yeah.
Which variation's your favorite? Is it? I'm guessing it's level 4 or 5.
It would be the 5. I like the big old purple spikes sticking out of his back. So
yeah, it's pretty sick. I like that too. And the thing that's so cool about golems is their detonation damage, man. I've seen so many wars, the difference can be made in a golem explosion.
Yeah, I've seen a couple bases, or even a town hall or something. They're beating on a Inferno Tower or something. That them golems pop and the town hall goes down too. So it's that was cool.
Totally, man.
All right, guys. I am gonna have to wrap it up. I've got some sort of crazy internet deal here. My router resets every night at midnight, so if we get caught on, it'll kick off the stream. So I'm gonna have to wrap it. As much as I'd like to talk to you guys for another hour.
Yeah, man. No problem. No problem.
So I hate to cut it short, but one quick last question here. What did you guys think of ClashCon?
Oh, that was probably the worst question to ask in a short time frame. Three, maybe it's 4 words. I'm going to go quick with I hated it. So 3 words. I was debating going hard, very, very hardcore. I knew I would be able to make the time. It was a matter of actually the commitment of just saying, yeah, it's going to be worth it. And I decided that anytime that you look at even a product for the first time, it's usually better to give it a second go. And this was one of those things, and I'm glad that I did that on. So being a war guy that follows very high level fair play events, and seeing people that don't necessarily preach fair play and moreover don't even war, being on certain panels and things like that, I felt like it was a huge disappointment. Also, yes, everybody already knew Town Hall 11 was coming. It was a given. Eventually it would come, but with no date, no real purpose, and then you tell us the entire dynamic of the game is going to be changed from the bottom up, then you don't leave with that. You when you say you're changing things that aren't broken, then you need to give us a better insight when you're live and in person and can explain them. Then what you're going to do in some random sneak peeks, try to explain it on the forums and hope nobody rips it too hard. So I wasn't a fan of the way that it was done. And I think there were certain people that should have been there to represent or present. And then I think that certain clans should not have been included with the wars. Yeah, everybody can war and that's fine. But you still need to give us our piece as a high level community. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
I'll cut you some slack, Warble. I don't feel particularly strongly about it, mostly because I don't follow I obviously I follow Clash, but I don't follow it. I don't follow the external things that closely. My world is pretty much Cold September, and my own little base. But I don't know. The new town hall looks like cake, so that sucks. But I think it's cool that they're adding one. And as far as the new hero goes, I know that it's annoying that they put out such a hard teaser, but I don't know. It's kind of cool to keep everybody guessing. I actually forgot that there was a new hero coming out because they didn't release any details and nobody knows what it's going to look like. But I don't know. When it gets here, we'll all be happy to have it. So whatever, man. I don't know. I'm all right with it.
You're too perky and cheery because you're
yeah. I was.
Castle's Canadian, so he's nicer than I am, I think.
I am super Canadian, but you know what? I'll tell you though, that's why people know if I get upset, it's serious. Because how do you get any more chill than a 420 Canadian? You don't.
Oh my word! All right, so yeah, thanks for the question. What was your thoughts on it?
Disappointed. And I'm right there with you. I was tweeting ClashCon or hashtag ClashCon all morning long, just like you guys were. And I was really disappointed that Jake wasn't there. But what do you do?
Yep.
You just
cry in your sleep like a child. Not really. I'm just kidding. No. But no, you have to accept it and hope that they've received our message for the following year. So, they do what, as a company, they do what they do well. They just aren't quick to react what the majority is becoming. The name of the game is Clash of Clans. You cannot clash a clan when you're pushing or farming. So, give us what we want because it is the name of the game that you wanted originally. I mean, or you wouldn't have named it that. That's just my opinion.
All right, guys. If you guys got any, you want to buy a round for anybody tonight, and I'll get your Twitter handles, or and you guys can shout out your stream again, and Castle, we can shout out your YouTube again if you want.
Sure, man. Shaggy, you want to go?
Go ahead. I'll go second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to say thanks, Warble. It was cool to be on here, and if you ever want to have me back, I'd be more than happy. It's pretty simple hopping on Discord, so thanks for that, man.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad you could join me tonight.
Yeah, I'm having a good time, and I mean it when I say I'd like to see your Clash After Dark grow. you're doing a good job, and it's it's a fun time and it's something to listen to, so that's cool. Um, Obviously, a big shout out to Cold Sept, all the members. I can't list them all. There's too many. But once again, just a big thank you to the guys that put in the most time and effort. Zabby, Jarvie, SSM, Lil Bolt, um, Seth, all those guys. So big thank you to them. Shout out to my girlfriend slash clasher, Pretty Kitty, and my roommate Suspect that plays. And shout out to Shaggy for making, connecting with you and making this all happen. It was a great time, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you, Shaggy.
Thanks for that, Castles. So from my side, my buy rounds are obviously all of the people who support the clan families, both of them as a whole. So it doesn't have to be a co-leader. Some of these people have been with me for almost 2 years. So I'm going to leave that one vague because I love them all. Shout out to the people who have envisioned what FPC is and to help it grow, and to each of you for giving the opportunity here to be part of the stream and allowing me to be part of it. So if I had to put something out there and I had to name a name beyond the people that I don't want to, it's I'm going to give a shout out to the old members that I mentioned earlier, and they'll never see this. But my buy rounds are for Bow and Arrows and Don Wan, because if it wasn't for those guys, then I wouldn't have been able to make the acquaintance of each of you guys and all the people that are part of our groups today, because the clan wouldn't exist. So they'll never see it, but I'm buying them around. So it's much overdue at this point.
Cool. And I'm gonna buy around for JP tonight because, like I said, he was sweating our button push, and he was really sweating it out for our recent arranged war, and he kept it together, and we made our match. And so my round goes out to JP. He's been great, and like I said, he keeps things fun and Steal the Glory. So my round's for JP tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all. And you mentioned re-shouting out the streams. Castles on YouTube is Castle COC. Cold September COCs, where I rant and give small little things. Follow Castles because mine's almost useless. And then Twitch is twitch.tv/Shaggy68. And Castles and I both keep each channel that he does YouTube. I do Twitch often. Anybody that's interested in Cold September or wants to reach out can contact me or him through coldseptember.com/contact-us. So just go to coldseptember.com and you'll be able to find the contact page in the menu. So thank you guys for having us, and to all of you that push our community, we appreciate it.
Awesome.
Let's do it again sometime, Warble.
Absolutely. All right, just because we're on a time crunch, guys, don't log off. I'll talk to you guys after we drop the stream here. Like I said, it's going to reboot here in about 2 minutes. So
okay, cool.
I hate that we're on a rush like that. I hate to cut you guys off like that, but thank you everyone for watching tonight. It's been awesome talking to these guys from Cold September, and I hope to get them on again. Maybe we can set something up again real soon so we can hear from them again. I know they've got more they want to talk about, and I really want to get them on. So
thanks for that.
No problem, man. All right. Thanks everyone for watching, and